appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Hey, I'd like to have you on my shows.
Deal.
'Cause then we each talk, we interact, and, and I help you grow, you help me grow. It's a win-win.
Deal. You've got my virtual handshake on that.
Yeah,
Well,
sounds good.
awesome, brother. Well, hey, dudes, here in the bakery again with us today, we've got a great expert in Bitcoin. We've been waiting to do this for a long time. Anthony and I have talked about Bitcoin on some of our previous episodes, but we're not the experts when it comes to Bitcoin. But we found someone who is. And so, dudes, I want you to help us welcome to the show Bitcoin Ben.
Hey, brother, how are you doing, man? Great to actually meet you and talk to you.
Hey, the pleasure is ours. We're so excited to have you on. Like I mentioned, we've been wanting to talk to someone about cryptos. I mean, obviously Bitcoin too as well, but just the whole landscape that surrounds cryptocurrency, blockchain, the economy that surrounds it, investing, things like that. But before we jump into that, Bitcoin Ben, would you mind talking to us a little bit about your past? I know you're a former truck driver turned Bitcoin investor.
Yeah, well, that is true. And please forgive my voice. I do a lot of interviews and a lot of shows, and not really, I don't really take care of my voice as well as I should. So please forgive me. Uh, I, uh, I am a lifelong entrepreneur, and I used to own a remodeling company. Uh, and prior to that, I owned other smaller companies. And in each one, I would sell up. You know, I'd actually build one company, sell it, roll profits, launch another one. And when I got rid of the remodeling company, um, I was really burned out. It was 2007. The housing market was absolutely crazy. Uh, I got out, and luckily, I was able to kind of, I guess you could say it, almost retire into truck driving. Um, and so retirement, after a month, it's not as fun as you think it is,
Yeah.
but you run out of things to do. So I basically, I got a job as a truck driver. Because it's like, wait a minute, I'll roll around the country for a while, enjoy life. And I did that for quite a few years. Um, then I was driving a truck, and I'm pretty sure I remember where I was at. Middle of the desert out in Nevada. And I heard a talk radio show on his truck drivers love talk radio. Um, it's the only people we get to talk to. Uh, and so I heard this interview of this new, like, online money type of concept. And because of my history of as an entrepreneur and my early education with my grandfather on economics, currency, capitalism, Austrian economics versus Keynesian economics, um, I witnessed very quickly, hmm, decentralized currency. Oh, you know,
Yeah.
I'm like, very interesting. And at the time, I think Bitcoin was like $40.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Wow.
So I started learning more and more about it. And the more I learned about it, Like I said, my grandfather was very influential in my youth, and he was a survivor of running away from communism. So he was very pro America, very pro, free markets, just the ultimate Austrian economics entrepreneur was my grandfather. And he was kind of my he would teach me things when I was young that I didn't know I was learning things when I was learning it. He would basically wax on, wax off, do this, and eventually you'll know why I taught you this.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And so I got into cryptos, and well, initially, my youngest, how I got into doing shows was actually before I started talking about Bitcoin. As a truck driver, you get a lot of free time. So my daughter, my youngest, says, "Hey, there's this new technology out there called Facebook Live."
Yeah.
Where you can go live on Facebook. And I'm always joking around. I'm a very, I'm always happy. I'm one of those annoying, happy people that everyone hates. They're like, "Oh my God, look at this ray of sunshine."
I'm a cautious optimist. That's what I call myself.
Hey, I don't blame you. In this world, especially today, it's hard to be an optimist, but if you're going to be one, be a cautious one, But so her and I, we did a video on Facebook, and it went viral. And I had never understood what viral was until all of a sudden my phone's not working. I'm getting like so many notifications of like friends on Facebook. And I'm like, what is going on? And so my wife hops online and she's like, "I think your video is going viral." And then I'm like, "All right, so do I like take a shot? Am I contagious or what?" And she's like, "No, your video has 500,000 views in like 6 hours."
That's wild.
And I'm like, wow. So all of a sudden, I got all these Facebook friends that I don't know who they are. So I started just like posting things I thought was funny. And it was actually like me on a rant about something usually political. And I just got bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, one day, I started talking about cryptocurrencies and like Bitcoin, because this was during the this was when like 2008, 2009, when the government announced we're bailing out the banks.
Right.
And that pissed
You're fine.
Okay, good. I didn't want to
shit, damn, fuck, you're good.
Oh my good. And that really pissed me off. I'm like, whoa, that's not capitalism.
Right.
Which I knew the president at that time was the complete opposite of a capitalist. So it didn't surprise me. It just really pissed me off. So I actually got on on a video, and for all of my viewers, it was really the first time I was ever really serious about something. And I started explaining Austrian economics and the difference between Austrian economics and Keynesian economics. And that one went viral. It's like truck driver explains economics better than PhD people explaining. Is what I did was I explained very simply is if you know your topic, you can usually break it down in very simple to grasp, concepts. So I basically explained how Austrian economics is the economics of nature, that all it is value added economics, which is what nature is. You plant a seed in the ground. That seed absorbs energy and grows. And as the amount of energy is ingested into the seed and it grows, the value of the tree grows with it. Because as the tree gets taller and more girth, it's worth more to humans. And
I like that.
Once you explain it very simply, people get it.
Right.
A tree takes a long time to grow to a big tree. So what gives it that value is the length of time that it takes. Well, we see that in a different way. We actually call it our labor hours. Right? When we go to work, we are selling our time as a service. The amount you get paid is how much value you can produce in that time. And that's what a tree does.
Production, right? That's the formula for production. Yeah.
Right. And so if you grasp that Austrian economics is just the economics of nature, which is why the only economic system that works is Austrian economics. Everything else is actually fake. Because if you have a monetary unit like the US dollar, right? This example always works. Right, hang on a second. Right. So let's say you have $1.
Yep.
And you have $100. Woo-hoo! Well, why is this one worth more than this one?
It's because we agree that that one that has a 100 on it is worth $100, and we agree that that one is worth $1.
Exactly. It's the illusion,
right,
on the paper. And currency is a shared illusion amongst humans. We are the only thing, the only creatures in existence that we know of other than aliens, which if you want to talk about that, I have a whole view on that too. But we assign value to everything. Without humans, there is no value.
Right. I mean, even gold. I mean, you can look at gold, and the only reason we put value on gold is because it turns it into jewelry, and people like jewelry, right?
Yep.
And obviously, it's a finite resource, and so that makes sense.
But it's not.
Right. You're right. You're right.
See, actually, gold, and don't get me wrong, right? Gold used to be a great thing to peg your money to.
Right.
but we've advanced. And how I explain that, um, um, have you ever heard of a guy named Peter Schiff?
Yes. Oh
He's
God.
a huge gold bug.
I know he speaks out about, I get, yeah, I know I've heard him on probably Yahoo Finance or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he he was the biggest gold bug ever. And and recently, in fact, 2 days ago, he finally understood the Bitcoin enough where he said, I'm selling my gold
Oh,
and I'm buying Bitcoin. What led him to that conclusion
oh, really?
was I explained to him what I'm about to explain to you. And this will give your audience a very simplified, very easy to understand why Bitcoin. Right? Humans have always linked our currencies to the lowest form or material of our economy. Right? The reason we valued gold and silver and precious metals for so long was for the longest time the most used material in our um, in our economy were metals.
Okay.
Right. Well, in 1968, that changed. 1968 was the year where plastics and oils overtook the amount of usage in our economy. So therefore, silver and gold and metals had dropped out of actually being the most used, lowest level of material that we used. It moved over to petroleum.
Okay.
So the reason in 1973 the US went off the gold standard wasn't because of anything except the shift of technology.
Hmm.
And 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 we realized our economy was now actually based on petroleum based products. So we linked our currency with petroleum
The
because,
petrodollar, right?
right, exactly, the petrodollar. Because in 1973, now the lowest form of production was now petroleum used across the world. So everyone linked their currency to our dollar,
Mhm.
and we made arrangements with Saudi Arabia and all these others. Hey, let's create a market where everyone has to use our dollar to buy oil. And that created the petrodollar. Well, that worked for about 40 years until the invention of the internet and the evolution of the internet. Well, in 2008, after the launch of the iPhone, right? The iPhone was launched in 2007.
Mhm.
After the launch of the iPhone in 2008, we had a shift where now the lowest form and most used level of our economy went digital, where most of the purchases in our economy were not a physical unit, they were digital units.
Mhm.
And digital units are just strictly energy.
Sure.
So we went from gold, silver, and metal to petroleum. We went from petroleum, now we're at the pure energy, where most of our GDP across the globe is digital products. We are using less petroleum, and we surpass petroleum with digital products and services. So now we are transitioning into the place that we were in 1973, where we replaced the gold and silver with oil. Now we're replacing oil with pure energy.
Hmm.
Well, that's when Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin,
Hmm.
right? And Satoshi Nakamoto is not an individual, right? There is no Satoshi Nakamoto.
Okay.
What?
I didn't
All
know.
right.
I didn't know that.
All right. Just like every single technology, it's evolutionary, right? Bitcoin uses an algorithm called SHA-256. Right? SHA, S-H-A dash 256. Now, those of you in the military or who have ever been in the military, you may or may not recognize that, because SHA 256 is just an authorization algorithm for transmitted military messages.
Okay.
And what it is you have a public key and you have a private key, right? And you send the message into the public key, but you have to have the private key to read it. It's how we would transact messages in a military field.
So is this kind of the primitive part of the blockchain, maybe?
Yes, exactly. That's the early representative of a blockchain.
Yeah.
Well, what had happened was there were a bunch of cyberpunks in the 90s, and some of them are very famous. Let's see, Jack Dorsey, Elon Musk,
Never heard
all
of
yeah, they're newbies.
Yeah.
They're just getting started. All of these guys were trying to actually come up with a new digital currency. Well, the problem they had was a problem that Satoshi Nakamoto, which does not exist, that's a group of people, they solved it with what is called the double spend problem, is what they had, where prior to this advancement of code, you could send the same message over and over again. So there wasn't a limit on transaction. So I could basically create a currency, but I could create it over and over and over again. Just like a picture, you can duplicate it online and send it out to 1 billion people.
Okay. Yeah.
But with Satoshi Nakamoto's enhancement of SHA 256, it closed that gap where now you can limit the supply of the messages. Now, the messages are what we call Bitcoin.
Mm.
They aren't real coins. It's just a ledger of transactions.
Right.
That are every 10 approximately 10 minutes, there's a block created. That block is actually filled with transactions. Then it uses the SHA-256 algorithm to hash, which hash is just a fancy word for a big, long mathematical, calculation.
Okay.
To hash that block of transaction into the rest of the blocks on the whole chain, right? And come up with a new hash answer, hash resolution answer. It's a big, long mathematical problem that only a computer can solve.
Right.
And
hence the mining, right?
right, that's what the mining is. And whichever computer or group of computers answer that hash first gets rewarded with the amount of actual Bitcoin that is released at that time.
Gotcha.
Right, right now, every day there's about 900. Well, there's about 900 actual Bitcoin that are mined every day right now.
And that, correct me if I'm wrong, that number's starting to slow down because there's only a certain amount that can be mined.
Right.
Altogether, right?
Next year, in late March, early April, well, we're not exactly sure on a date yet because of the hash block resolution fluctuation. We don't know exactly what day, but that's when the code of the Bitcoin goes into what we call a halvening. That's where the reward per block is actually cut in half. So instead of 900 Bitcoin released every day, it's only 450.
Wow.
And then in another 4 years, there will be another halvening, and it will go down to 225. Then it will go down to 112.5, and so on every 4 years. And that's in the code, cannot be changed, cannot be altered, is actually reaffirmed every 10 minutes in the mining process. It's completely decentralized. The blockchain cannot be corrupted or changed in any manner. So it's completely secure from governments, from individuals, from anything. There's nothing, not even a quant. And I've heard people go, well, quantum computers could do it. No.
Can you explain the reasoning behind the halvening? I have a hunch
Oh, absolutely.
for our listeners. What's the whole point?
I got all day, brother. We can talk all day. What's the reason?
Yeah. What?
So that do you want the public reason or do you want the real reason? Or should I give you both?
Well, yeah. Let's hear both.
All right. The public reason is so that Bitcoin is an appreciating asset in value, even if the volume of adoption never changes. So if you have 100 people who value Bitcoin now, and in another 4 years, that same 100 people are the only people who value it, it still gains value.
Right.
Right
Becomes
now,
a more and more scarce resource, essentially.
bingo.
Right.
The real reason it's every 4 years, and the reason it was launched November, in fact, on Halloween, uh, in 2009, actually 2008, it was launched, but it wasn't perfected till 2009. That's because the creators of my watch is listening to us.
No, I know it. They're always listening.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, I don't have mine on.
Is actually because they aligned the launch with the presidential elections and the anticipation of the Federal Reserve having to go on a 4-year super cycle of printing money. Right? This is all planned out. I've proven it over and over again.
Wow.
Is and if you want, I can go on a future show and explain who exactly did all this.
All right.
Um,
Dudes, look out for part 2 coming out here soon.
oh, absolutely. You dudes are gonna love it. It's so the real reason is so that Bitcoin's halvening lands on an election year and the approximate time where the Federal Reserve will be in a printing phase of the currency. So it was triggered as to take down the Fed. That's the whole goal.
Wow.
The only thing that Bitcoin does is eat fiat. That's it.
Fiat currencies, for those that don't know. Fiat currencies. Yeah.
Yep, that's its only job. Eat fiat, Bitcoin. Okay. And that's all it does. And with a limited supply, that's why the federal government, especially the Democrats or liberals or rhinos, or as I call them, historically accurate progressive movement, right? The progressive Democrats and the progressive Republicans hate Bitcoin.
Right.
That's why, shall we call her Pocahontas, hates Bitcoin so much.
Are we talking about Sleepy Joe?
No. The woman in
AOC.
No. Older white woman. She claimed she was an American Indian.
Oh.
God, I can't remember her name. I'm sure
Elizabeth Warren.
Yes, Elizabeth. I call her Pocahontas.
Pocahontas. I forgot about that.
She claims to be an American Indian, and she's literally like 0.001% Indian.
Yeah.
Okay,
we all are, right?
Yeah. And so they hate it because it's outside their system. And its job is to eat their currency that they're manipulating.
And there's no control. They want to have control of everything, and they can't have control.
And they can't. They can't control it. And it really pisses them off, which makes me smile.
Yeah.
And so the happenings were set up for the printing times that the Federal Reserve would be forced to print due to the debt clock.
Hmm.
And This is all an equation. So I don't know how economical you guys will really get on your show, but
That's
we're in
my
a little
area of
bit of
interest.
a pickle right
Not
now.
Anthony's. That's
Oh,
my area of interest, but not Anthony's. Not really a geek when it comes to financial markets and all that. But that is
oh, he will be
right. Yeah.
as inflation rises. I guarantee he'll be like, okay, what about this Bitcoin?
Right.
Um, excuse me. So, oh, and do you mind if I smoke?
Oh no, you're okay.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm gonna vape. So
Yeah, just all of this oxygen's messing with me.
I love it.
So as we move along, the most deadly weapon against the federal government is Bitcoin. It's why the SEC, it's why the whole progressive government is against Bitcoin because they know that Bitcoin's coming after the one thing that allows them the control that they have. Sorry about that.
No worries.
That's Bitcoin because it eats their fiat and its limited supply.
Right.
So the limited supply, that's the price going up at the rate of adoption. Now, over the last year and a half and 2 years, especially more recently, we've got a lot of news that a lot of big players are getting into Bitcoin, like BlackRock. For those of you who don't know, the largest company in the world
I think
is
they own
BlackRock.
between them and Vanguard, they own like 82% of the world.
Yeah,
Like
literally.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
ridiculous. Yeah. They're starting an ETF, right?
they are. They are waiting for approval and they are days away. Now, if you don't know what an ETF is,
That was going to be my next question.
an ETF is an exchange traded fund, right? It's basically they hold the commodity and they issue shares linked with that commodity that they hold. And you can trade it on markets, on NASDAQ, on Bloomberg, all that. So BlackRock announced yesterday that they were officially starting to buy Bitcoin. This week, those of us in Bitcoin, the last 2 weeks, there's been a huge jump up. Well, guess who that is? That's BlackRock.
Yep.
BlackRock, because it's such a limited supply, they have to buy off the exchanges.
Right.
And so much of the crypto world and the Bitcoin world is anti-establishment. Now that's my wife. I had to read that one.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, man, if you got to cut in, you got to do what you got to do.
Oh no, it's good. I love her, but we've been married 20 years. I'm sure she's gonna bitch about something. Modern technology is great. Now I don't have to wait to get home to hear the bitching.
At least you don't have to hear it in person, right?
Well, luckily for me, after 20 years, and because of my personality, I actually tell her, honey, there's a reason I got you a dog. I don't want to hear the bitching. I'll be out at the pool. So, where was I?
ETFs.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
So BlackRock is now having to buy the Bitcoin off the open market retail exchanges. That's pushing the price up. And BlackRock's not the only game in town for the ETF. There are 14 other major players that are launching ETFs at the same time as BlackRock.
Mhm.
Well, BlackRock, because they're BlackRock, they basically get priority on a lot of things. So they announced this week that they are officially buying Bitcoin. So that run up we just had wasn't even really BlackRock, the corporation. It was the people who knew BlackRock, the corporation, was getting ready to buy.
Right.
Because if you can front run BlackRock, you're off to the races, baby. So BlackRock's now going to start buying Bitcoin. I have a friend who works at BlackRock, and they let me know that BlackRock, just off internal interest of existing accounts, they have about $30 billion of initial interest. And they haven't even been approved for the ETF yet.
Wow.
But they will be soon. So the internal interest at BlackRock alone will shoot Bitcoin over $41,000 a Bitcoin. Just their internal pre-launch, they haven't even sent out a newsletter to all their clients yet. This is just clients that watch the actual Bitcoin market and know they're getting ready to launch this, that are telling BlackRock, soon as you go, I want to buy.
Right.
So according to my BlackRock friend, probably $100 billion within the next 6 months just from BlackRock.
Wow.
Just from BlackRock.
And you still have companies like Vanguard, like iShares, you know.
Yeah, well, iShares is actually BlackRock.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. No, brother, this is my life.
Yeah.
This. I don't know if you actually make donuts or not, but I didn't think so.
The donut is the treat that we have in the conversation, essentially.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nugget of sweets.
Yeah. But so the whole concept comes from the, side note here, we'll jump back in, but is dudes, or, you have guys that used to go to the donut shop, sit around a round table and just talking about whatever. Right. And so that's the concept.
Like they did it, like all of the farmers did. They needed the coffee shop, have donuts and coffee, and they talk about the price of corn and shipping cost and the price of diesel and I hate my wife.
Right.
But her sister don't look bad. And no, I love your concept. I love the whole thing.
Yeah.
And
But anyway.
Question for you. Did you serve in the actual military?
Oh, I did not. No, this was a golf tournament that my company sponsored here in town.
Oh, okay.
For the Club Cadet. We sponsored it every year. It's one of the private schools here in the area puts on the tournament at a country club, and we enjoy the cause, the Club Cadet cause. So
awesome. I myself, like, I'm giving my wife shit, but she's a wonderful woman. She handles all of our like charity events and all that, and we are also very the only charities we give to are actually charities for children and charities for like cats and dogs.
Yeah.
Because I think if you're a grown adult, that you should work your way and figure it out.
Agreed.
Right. Uh, so we have all this news about like BlackRock and Bitcoin, and we have the halvening coming up. Now, the significance of this halvening cannot be underappreciated.
Hmm.
This halvening brings us to the point in Bitcoin where the stock to flow ratio is less than any other commodity in the world. And also the US dollar. So now this happening makes the Bitcoin the most limited asset production of any commodity or any currency in the world.
Yeah. Wow.
So for all of the bond traders, all of the securities, all of the precious metals, all of that. Now the Bitcoin is lower production and higher demand than all of them. And that, my friend, is an economic formula for a skyrocket. And that's why the price right now of Bitcoin, that's why BlackRock's getting in now. Because they know, here we go.
Right.
BlackRock does not get involved in anything that they don't know they're going to win.
Yeah, I would say with I think their assumption is like $13 trillion in assets under management. I think you would have a clue as to what's going on.
They might have an inkling.
Yeah.
Plus, they have an inkling of influence in Washington. When you're the largest corporation in the world, the president answers the phone. If our president could adequately actually speak.
Great. Agreed.
Which ours can't.
You can't, man.
He's what I call a mumble fuck.
Yeah. Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, Sleepy Joe.
Yeah.
On my show, when I make fun of him, I go, somebody push him to a window and let him see the birds in the bird bath. Right? He's done.
Right. Dog and squirrel effect.
Oh. Yeah. In order to really throw him off, just yell bingo.
I love it.
Old people always bingo. Oh, bingo.
So, I have a company where in senior care, we take care of seniors in home. And
that was one of my first jobs, was actually cutting grass at a retirement home.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, I loved it.
Absolutely. Hey, yeah. So Bitcoin Ben, we keep our shows right at about 45 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But with that being said, we're definitely going to take you up on a part 2 because we want to talk more about Bitcoin. There's quite a bit here that we would love to unravel and go through. Obviously, but the last thing that I would love from you, if you don't mind, is if you could talk to our listeners just about if they're hesitant about investing in Bitcoin, if they're the skeptic of the asset class, can you give us some advice surrounding it and that could maybe help ease some of those investment anxieties surrounding Bitcoin and cryptocurrency altogether?
Absolutely. And I will make it so simple that everyone will get it.
I love it.
Right? Currency and our exchange of value habits have always evolved. Initially, we traded coins. Then we moved to paper. Then in the late 1800s, actually earlier than that, we moved and we accepted checks, like personal checks. Then from there, we went to credit cards. Then from credit cards, we went to our phones. This is just the next evolution of the transaction of value amongst humans. And the reason that they should look into and research and learn about the Bitcoin is it's the reason the freedom-minded people love the Bitcoin and the socialist, communist, progressive control freaks of the world hate it is it's outside their system. And what I usually get is, yeah, but I can't spend it anywhere. Not so. Not so. There are several cards out there, and I'll introduce them on another show. I can't really grab it out of my wallet right now, but I have 3 cards that I can shop with Bitcoin. There are websites that you can shop on Amazon.com and get 20% off everything on Amazon when you shop with Bitcoin.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And there's so many options people don't know about. But like me, I can completely live outside the dollar right now and never use $1 or $100 bill again.
Yeah.
Now I do, because some of the companies I work with and some of the companies I own still have 1 foot in the old system, 1 foot in the new system. We get paid in dollars
Right.
but you can use it in real life. And it's the first decentralized, globally accepted currency that over time will gain value. It's the opposite of your 401k. Your 401k is losing value every year. Even if the dollar value looks like it's gone up, the purchasing power of your 401k has gone down. So although you may look at it and go, whoo, last year I had $220,000. This year in my 401k, I got $300,000. But what you don't realize, last year, the dollar lost about 25% of its purchasing power just last year. So you didn't gain purchasing power. You gained a little bit higher number, but it won't buy what it could last year.
Right.
So the more you learn, the quicker you run into Bitcoin. You don't walk. Once you get it, you're like, I'm out. I found a new system. I'm out. And once again, I'm sorry. At my club's website, We have all the information, but you can learn everything you need to know joining the website. We have all the videos. I do a daily show. I um I I even own the equivalent of like it's the equivalent of like Roku or Netflix. But the name of it is FGTV.
Okay.
And that has channels under it for Ethereum, for like Bitcoin, even XRP, which I'm not a fan of. But if you're into that, I'm into freedom.
Sure.
You choose your currency. I don't care. And so all the educational information that anybody watching your show would ever need is on our website. And it's actually right here.
Yeah. So, dude, you can find all this information at bitcoinbencryptoclub.com. Again, that's bitcoinbencryptoclub.com.
Yep. And you can also find me on Rumble, YouTube. Well, YouTube, I'm on my 5th YouTube channel because they don't like me so much on
I
YouTube.
know. You're getting canceled on YouTube, Ben?
I've actually been canceled 5 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was the original cryptocurrency influencer who got canceled on YouTube.
Nice. We got him right here on Donuts with Dudes. He's here with us. I love it.
Let's see, I've actually been doing videos for 8 years now. Yeah, and I love it. Like I tell my wife, I'm not going to quit doing shows until America's free again.
I love it.
That
Well,
that's once you reach a certain amount of money, it's not about the money anymore.
yeah. It's about
So I'm sorry. I am also very emotional. I get when I think of where our country's at, it really bothers me.
it and it doesn't look like we're heading in any better direction. And so it's going to
Oh, I
take
think we are.
I think it's going to take pioneers like you to help trailblaze to get us
And,
right back on the right path. So,
yep, because the U.S., America is only an idea,
sure.
and you're spreading the idea, brother. You and I, we are the modern Thomas Paine, and
Well,
we're preaching common sense, baby.
amen.
All right. Hey, it was great actually being on your show. I want to have you on my show. I'll have my guy reach out to you,
Awesome.
and I'd love to have you two or however it works out.
And sorry,
Oh,
Anthony couldn't make it today. He was out sick. So, I didn't want to have him in close proximity today. So I was
I
like, well,
got
you can
the
hop on the
vid.
computer. And he's like, man, I'm drugged up on all kinds of stuff to just help with the symptoms. So I was like, okay, I'll take one for the team this week and do it.
Well, I hope it was worth your time.
It was absolutely worth our time, Ben, and it's not lip service that we want to have you back on the show because I still have a lot that I would love to discuss with you and ask you and get your expert opinion on. And I know our dudes would love to hear it too as well.
Anytime you need me, just reach out and I'll hop on with you guys.
Great. That sounds great. I'm just gonna stop recording here. And you do whatever you